Welcome to Stupid Movies, where we watch them so you don't have to. That would have been a good one for a Thanksgiving movie, but we're in fucking October.
That's next month.
I'm going to do that again. Welcome to Stupid Movies, where we watch them so you don't have to.
That's right. And today, this week, we watched a new indie movie from Scream Team releasing called Spine Chiller. And look at that, I got the sign version.
2019, not rated, 72 minutes. Is that all?
And this was directed by Jacob Perrett. Perrett?
I think it'd probably be Perrett.
And this starred Derek Hyde and Rose Stainbrook. Well, after we got shivers and chills down our spine, we thought we were okay, and then all of a sudden we got a spine chiller.
Oh.
And when that chill paralyzed our spine on Halloween, and
you have no exit strategy, do you? So what was this movie about? So, Rob, this movie was an anthology. It was a bunch of different stories that all kind of tied together, a la Trick or Treat. It was centered around a dance that happens on Halloween called the Spine Chiller.
Spine Chiller. We
went to this dance, got a reach around from a beautiful woman. We liked that. What did we like about this movie?
The intro is very evident that there's kind of a retro 80s vibe to it. To some degree, which I always love. And they paired it up with an old school 80s sounding score, which is great.
I like the lighting. The lighting was really cool. It was super colory. Lighting goes a long way with us.
It creates that atmosphere.
This has an awesome Halloween atmosphere.
It does.
This is a Halloween movie that feels like Halloween.
You know, it's very indie, very low budget, but I thought it was shot well. They do use the filter to kind of make it look a little retro.
I want you to remember all of this. I kind of dug how all the stories tie together, for the most part.
It had some gore. And it was practical effects.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty good for what it is. I mean, some of it was kind of cheaply looking, but overall, I mean, I thought it was done well. Yeah. I mean, it opened up with the severed head inside of a pumpkin with a face showing. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, I like that. That was a cool effect. I like the cover art.
I love the cover art.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. One of the stories in this, it was a werewolf story, and it was cool. The whole idea, the way they went about it, the guy wants the werewolf costume, gets it in the mail. It only comes with the gloves, for the hands. He puts them on. Basically, it turns him into a real werewolf.
Yep.
And I thought that was neat.
I thought that was really cool because it pulls back to the old skin changer mythology of, like, you have a wolf skin and you put it on and it turns you into a wolf. I like that so much because we don't see that hardly ever in movies.
Right. And within that, the little transformation scene, it was actually really good. Oh, man, that damn. We're trying to talk about a movie, Adam.
The person who gave us a reach around turned out to be a dude. What didn't we like about the movie? I like that the stories tied together, but some of the stories just didn't go anywhere at all. The one with the heart in the basement?
Right.
Didn't need to be there. And what's sad is I actually liked that story. It could have been a standalone short and not part of this movie, and the movie wouldn't have changed at all. So there were a few of them that just didn't really seem to go anywhere.
That's where, if you kind of tie it all into as one story...
it's always risky when you do an anthology that everything's supposed to wrap together because you run that risk of, this is a really cool story, we want to include it, but how do we shoehorn it in? Rob really likes the throwback stuff.
I love it.
Adam is ambiguous towards it. Some of them are really good, and I love them.
It depends how they're executed.
Here's the problem with what happened on this movie. They shot it in HD, so it's crisp and clear and beautiful. And then they threw a film filter over it. And it's still crisp and clear and beautiful with little splotches.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense. Like, when you see those old movies with that on there, the reason it is because the film's degrading. So the image quality has degraded. Having a super sharp HD image with just a little grain over it, even a little bit of grain would have helped. Because it was really just the little pops every now and then. And it wasn't overdone like some we've seen. So that's good. It's just, my mind can't reconcile how beautiful it looks, how crisp and clear it looks with that film filter. The other thing is, if you're doing a throwback movie like that, and you pay attention to little details, like none of them had cell phones. They all had, old landline phones.
Right.
Cool. Beautiful. But then they had HD TVs. You are completely pulling out that immersion of we're in this time frame. It's just very hard to reconcile the two sides. And man, if you want it to look like an older movie, shoot it on film. Don't shoot it on an HD camera. or have the budget to hire a really good effects team to make the whole thing look old.
And if you didn't mean to make it set in the 80s to feel that way, then I'm not sure what the filter was for.
Right, exactly.
Because it did feel like that at parts. So,
like, if you weren't trying to make it feel like it was an old movie, you didn't need all that filtering stuff. So it sounds like a nitpick, but it breaks the immersion. And that's what a movie is the immersion.
Right, exactly.
So,
Overall, the whole violence and action was kind of weak. It kind of felt lackluster. It needed more gore.
It needed more gore.
Yeah.
Way more gore.
Not enough. It just would have benefited, at least for me. It's just, overall, it just felt kind of unengaging. I didn't care about the characters. It was decent enough acting and everything, but it wasn't enough to really just be invested. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, because I watched it with you.
That's right.
I was there. The final scene the final story made no sense in context with the rest of it. I didn't get how it was all supposed to wrap together. Like, okay, they're stealing faces. Why? And then it just felt so abrupt. Especially the final scene just felt like...
It was kind of like it was jarring.
The rest of it.
Yeah, it was just kind of jarring the way just all of a sudden it ended. We looked at each other like, huh?
Well, and part of it was because they were shining bright lights in our face, and that's really freaking annoying when you do that in movies. In fact, that's going to be my other dislike. Don't fucking do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Bad.
My only other thing was the pacing as a whole was kind of inconsistent.
This isn't the most Halloween movie we've watched this season.
No.
It's not the least either. No. This is not the best movie we've watched this Weenfest.
No.
And it's not the worst.
No.
I don't know. I mean, this was just kind of middle of the road. It was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. There were some really cool ideas. There was some promise here. Make it not an anthology. You know what? It didn't need to be. Like, you could have reworked this story so it was one story that all flowed. And I think it would have been better if it wasn't an anthology. Overall, it was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the worst. I'm going to give it we'll say 6 out of 8. No, 5.5 out of 8. I was thinking about the ending. It's good. Yeah. I wouldn't say don't watch it. Yeah. I would say just don't make it your top pick for Halloween. Like, make sure after you've got through all your required Halloween movies, this is one you can mix in there.
Yeah, I'm with you. If you do the 31 days of Halloween, this is definitely, I think, worth throwing on for one of those days. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's certainly not great. It's definitely indie, and that shows. But, it's an indie movie. You're getting into that, so you can kind of go in expecting that. I had some mild fun with it. It wasn't as fun as I thought. I felt it needed more. It was kind of lackluster. The ending was kind of just petered out for me. It's decent. Like I said, kind of middle of the road. A little bit higher for me, just because I do like that retro vibe and the score and everything. It's decent. Like I said, kind of middle of the road. A little bit higher for me, just because I do like that retro vibe and the score and everything. I'm gonna go 6.5 out of 8. And if you have seen Spine Chiller, did it give you spines up your chiller, or chills up your spine, is what I meant to say. Let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, tell your friends if you haven't. Just do it. Follow us on Facebook.com/StoopidMovies, Instagram @StoopidMovies, @Dr. Sketch Turner, @The Horror Punk. You can also email us at StoopidMovies@Outlook.com. Let us know what you've been watching for Halloween, because we want to know.
So it's about that time of year where you get jack-o'-lanterns and start doing that. Yeah. So here's your challenge. Drill a hole in a pumpkin, stick your penis in it, take a picture of it, and send it to Rob. He wants to see how it's done.
I don't. What if you don't have a penis? What if it's a girl?
Get a strap on.
Son of a bitch. I've never even been to a Halloween party in my life.
Bullshit.
Well, that's true.
You've been to my Halloween parties, you fucker.
That's true.